Hello everyone, welcome to the second week of our MOOC, Visual Journalism, looking at the other in the age of selfie. And today we're going to focus specifically on photographers, artists and authors that focus not on global issues or main journalistic issues, but mostly they look at their own inner world. They look at the world, but using their bodies, sometimes using their families to tell stories and to, in my opinion, impact us very much. One of the most famous ones is Cindy Sherman, known for self-portraits, which are very different from selfies and grabbing a phone and taking a simple photograph of yourself, a snapshot of yourself. But Cindy Sherman creates a whole environment, interprets with her body, with her face, others, and creates in complete landscapes, including herself. One of her more famous series is the complete untitled film Stills, produced in the 1970s, and is a critique about the media. But throughout the years, and she has been widely shown all over the world, she's been using and interpreting with her own body to look at others, to create different characters. Her work is very impactful and very recognized in the art world. But there are also works that intrigue me a lot. Another one is Nan Goldin, also very well known. Started as a documentary photographer, straightforward, and created a very impactful body of work named The Ballad of Sexual Dependency. And probably you already know some of these images, but it's Nan Goldin herself photographing her partner, her friends, including her transvestite friends. Some of them died from overdose, some of them died with victims of violence, and she was a victim herself of drugs, of violence, and it's to me her very important and seminal body of work where she created. I remember seeing this as an exhibition in Portugal years ago, and it created an impact on me because it's fairly easier to cross the world to tell someone else's story, but when you're living with that group, when you're part of that story, turning the camera to your friends and to yourself, it's a whole different approach. And another, fortunately, much happier story, but very interesting to me, it's of the Canadian photographer Larry Towell, a member of the Magnum agency. And Larry is a very interesting photographer because he not only covers world events, and he's known for his work produced in Nicaragua and El Salvador during the 80s, during the civil wars there, but he also looks at his own family, at his own world. He's a poet, he's a musician, he's a photographer, and he plays with all of that. And he created a body of work that became a book. It's called The World from My Front Porch. And to me it's very beautiful because Larry photographs his family, photographs his wife, his kids, himself, and his life seen from his farm in Canada, where he lives most of the year, and then he goes in and out to do his assignments, to do his projects, to do his personal work and his books. But he always comes back to this. He writes poetry, he plays music, and he's been playing with his concepts and recording music and recording sounds, photographing himself and his family. And I invite you to take a look at this body of work too. And finally, to me, a very young and promising photographer who happens also to be our guest speaker today, Diana Markosian. She's a Russian-American photographer and very young. She's not even 30 yet, but she's been creating a number of bodies of work related to herself, related to her story, personal story, but also related to the places where she lives, looking at young females around the world. But there's a specific body of work of hers that impacted me tremendously. It's called Inventing My Father, and it's her own relationship revisiting her father 15 years after she has left to the US and she has never seen him again. But then she gets in touch with him and she decides to visit him back in Armenia, where he lives. And she created a very intimate and deep body of work that I'm a super fan of. Diana is also our guest speaker today, so I invite you to go into the platform and look to our interview, where she'll, on her own words, explain her process, the way she sees the world today, and what she's working on now. It's interesting. There are a number of other examples of photographers that are working with self-portraiture, working with themselves. We can go over it. There are some books that I recommend. I'll post them on the platform. I'll post links to texts too. I'll post some images, and there's a quiz to answer, and there's some questions that I would like you to develop. There's also a photographer that I admire immensely that already unfortunately passed away, way too young. His name is Tim Hetherington, and I'm posting a video which is his final piece before he passed away. He died in Libya in 2011, but just months before that he created a video called Diary. And this video, I saw it just when it was released, and it's a short video, very interesting, and it's precisely these questions of our own inner worlds and what we see when we go out there as photojournalists and documentary photographers. I would like you to take a look at it and give me your opinion. Next week we're going to be here again. I hope you will join us and we'll keep this discussion going. Thank you very much, and I'll hope to see you next week.